Welcome to the Dynasty Effect, where the legacy of the Clash of Dynasties docuseries doesn't end, but continues.
This is a podcast that puts it all together, you know?
This is the Dynasty Effect.
Welcome to another episode of the Dynasty Effect, where we continue the storytelling from the Clash of Dynasties series. I've got my co-host with me, Frank Favaro, as always, from Walsh Jesuit, Serve Centric, and from Akron, Ohio. How are you, Frank?
Man, I'm doing great. How about you?
Great. I'm on the road this week. I'm phoning in, but we got a great episode. Johnni DiJulius, I didn't know much about him. And I know you were working with his dad. That's the only name that I knew in the very beginning, that you were working for his father or working with his dad in his program. But when we shot the documentary, I saw his name all over the walls of the Walsh Wrestling, right? Because he's a 3-time state champ, and it was just there. So I saw the name. I connected it when you mentioned his father. But talk to me about Johnni DiJulius. What do you know about him?
Johnny is the man. Everyone who knows Johnny DiJulius obviously knows what he's about. And it's exciting to have him on today because he's energy, he has passion, and man, what he is doing right now is really cool. Across the camp scene, wrestling, RAF, his No Tomorrow stuff. So I'm really excited to have him on.
Yeah, and he was from a younger generation, a couple years after us, but still dominant.
After me, yeah. So he was in the mid 2000s.
But he was still a wrestler under Bill Barger, though. So he still was under that leadership and still got to experience that. That's awesome. So we'll talk to him about that. We'll talk to him about all the crazy stuff he's doing, and he's a movie star now. So without further ado, let's bring on Johnni DiJulius.
Can we get a little hype?
Johnni DiJulius.
Johnni DiJulius.
Johnny DiJulius.
Johnni DiJulius.
Johnny DiJulius.
DiJulius, a 3-time state champion from Ohio.
Went to Walsh Jesuit.
Wrestled at Walsh Jesuit.
DiJulius is rolling up here.
And he gets it.
Going to Ohio State also.
Ohio State wrestler.
4-time qualifier at the big show. A member of the 2015 National Championship team.
Rising star in the world of extreme sport.
3, 2, 1, see ya.
Live no tomorrow, baby!
Skydiving, the wingsuit, and the base jump. And a worldly man.
Made it to China,
Switzerland,
Borneo, Indonesia, Croatia, Montenegro, Bosnia, Argentina.
From accomplished wrestler to internet stardom, now he can add actor to his resume. Unstoppable.
You are in a movie.
Of course Johnny DiJulius is in a fucking movie.
The one and only Johnny DiJulius.
DiJulius. Welcome to the show, Johnni DiJulius.
The reason we do this is because it's fun.
That's Johnny, man.
Dude, that
Johnny.
was freaking sick. That intro, holy cow. That was awesome.
Good to see you, man.
Good to
Sorry
see you
about
guys.
the technical difficulties. I'm on the road.
No
but
worries.
great to
Where are
see
you at right now?
I am in a place called Mary Esther Beach, Florida, in the Panhandle. Shooting a
Sweet. I
show.
was just in Tallahassee last week.
That's awesome. Florida's a crazy place, man. What were you doing in Tallahassee?
Well, a good buddy of mine, Jake Paul, he lives in Bainbridge, Georgia, an hour north. So I flew into Tallahassee and drove up. You want to know a cool little fun fact about the Panhandle, Florida?
I want to know.
So if you ever go to you're at a family, get together, a bar, and you want a cool fun fact, it is, you just say this, you say it flat out, and you say it as if it's an absolute. You say, it is the same time in Florida as it is in Oregon. And you know how that's true? There's a part of Oregon that's in the mountain time. There's a part of Florida that's in central time. So that's only an hour apart. But during daylight savings, that part of Florida is for 1 hour of the year at the same time as Oregon. I always think that's a cool little fact about the Panhandle.
I'll bring it up next time I'm talking to a local.
Where
Let's
did
go.
you learn that at? Where did that come from?
Dude, geography is like my favorite thing in the world. It's all
Is it?
like obviously next to wrestling, but like wrestling is number one. And then through wrestling, obviously I do a bunch of, crazy, stupid stuff, jumping around, traveling the world. And because of that, like geography just became a huge passion of mine, where any little tidbit or any little factoid that I can, sink my or get my hands on, I try to learn about.
Where so you've been all over the place, and we're just going to jump around
Yeah.
all over the map on this because we're dealing with Johnny DiJulius.
That's how it's got to be. Let's go.
Exactly. It's no holding you down. I was telling Frank earlier, I was like, we're just going to, not stick to any script, but we got a lot of stuff.
Off script is how I like it.
But talk to me. You've been all over the world. Where is the best place that you've been? If you could live there for the rest of your life and not travel anywhere else,
that's a good question. So, for actually listeners that don't know me, my goal is to travel to every country in the world. And I'm about halfway right now. Now, as you can imagine, it becomes very geopolitical. What constitutes a country, right? Like, that's just how it goes. I'm somebody who I'm very loose with my term. I don't just recognize UN countries. So if you're a UN nation, there's 193 plus 2 observer states, so 195. I also count like de facto states, so like a Northern Cyprus or Abkhazia, South Ossetia in Russia. Like these things, if they claim independence, I count them. So I'm about halfway. So I'm about, if there's about 250 total, I'm at like, 125, maybe a little under. Of those 125, this is a tough question. As far as scenery goes, Switzerland and the Philippines are like unmatched. They're unbelievable. But Switzerland's expensive. I don't know if I can live there full time. It's like, dude, it's freaking crazy there. But as far as like people go, I really like, who I got along with a lot when I was in Jordan? The Jordanian people were I was like picking up hitchhikers like the entire week I was there. And they were just the best people ever, bringing me over to their house, having dinner. It was a fantastic time.
Did the wrestling at all help in Jordan? Because I know that
they're big, right? You know what helped? You know what's funny? So, okay, this is crazy. I never told this story before on a podcast. So I was in Russia climbing the tallest mountain in Russia. And in order to get into that area of Russia, it's actually the tallest mountain in Europe. It's on like the European side of Russia. It's called Mount Elbrus. And in order to get into Russia from there, you have to drive from Georgia into Russia, and you cross over in a town called Vladikavkaz. Now, you guys know probably Sidakov, who wrestles for Russia, and Kudakov, who passed away, unfortunately. They were both from Vladikavkaz. It's right next to Dagestan. So that whole Caucasus region is super rich wrestling. So I get into Russia, and they're giving me a hard time, just, as I'm sure we do with Russians. Do you have any military experience? What's your parents do? What, all this, stuff. Have you been to Ukraine? They were asking me like stuff like that. I am at my hotel after I get in for about a week. I had already climbed and summited the mountain. I'm leaving the next day. All of a sudden, I get a knock on my hotel door, and these 2 dudes walk in, and it like felt, I don't know what it was. It felt like KGB. Like, it was like, this is scary, right? So they start going through my phone, and they're searching things like they're searching Putin, Donald Trump, Ukraine. They're searching all these things in my phone. And I talk crap about everybody. I'm like, F this guy, F that guy. I'm just talking crap, right? I'm like, this is not good, man. This is really bad. Then he notices my ears, and he brings up Kyle Snyder. So I FaceTime Kyle Snyder, and I show the guy, and we start talking, and the guy leaves. And it was the greatest thing ever. I was like, dude, wrestling just saved me from I don't know what could have happened.
It's right. What Ryan Warner, wrestling saved your life. Right?
Yeah, wrestling saved my life. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's it. I've done that podcast twice. He's a great guy.
He's awesome. Ryan's great.
Johnny, that's crazy, man. To think about that intensity of that moment. What were you thinking? Like, because this dude's going through your phone, right?
I'm like, dude, go to Flow Wrestling. Watch, at least like have some respect for me. If you're gonna see all the crap I talk, watch some matches.
Where did you feel maybe the most uncomfortable? Because I know you like to dig into like the locals, you travel
I
local.
definitely like that. So
where did
did
you feel the most? I'm sorry. Where did you feel most uncomfortable? Where you're like, ooh.
So fortunately, so I'm a little optimistic when it comes to the world. Like, obviously, you got to be smart. You have to have your head on. There's going to be dangerous scenarios that present themselves anywhere, whether it's the U.S. or it's Russia, China, Azerbaijan, anywhere in the world. There's sketchy areas. I like to think, especially like being to about 115, 120 different countries, people generally are good. Like, for the most part, like, contrary to what the news tells you, and this is very anecdotal, obviously, just my lived experience, but for the most part, people are more good than they are bad. That's just how the world is. You know what I mean? So I haven't really felt in a really dangerous position that I myself haven't put myself in. Obviously, I base jump, I skydive, I've been a knucklehead on purpose. But when it comes to like actual interactions with locals, I've only had one, and it was like it was funny. I was in Zambia, and Zambia for African countries is like super safe, right? They all speak English, so there's no language barrier. I'm pretty sure they use USD, or no, they use Kwacha. I'm sorry, but USD is like accepted there. It's super easy to get along there. And this police officer gets in my car, and he's like, "You owe me money for this turn signal," and I'm like, "Oh, this guy's trying to get me, right? He's trying to give me, get some money." And he goes, "We're gonna have to impound your car." And I'm like, "You're not doing that." And then my girlfriend's next to me, and she's like, "Whatever you was like, if you want to crash out, crash out. Like, do what you want to do." So I started driving, and I'm like, "Dude, you're coming with me now. Like, we're going wherever I'm going." I just drove to the airport, and then he got out and walked away. He didn't really pose a threat, but that's the only time I've ever been like shaken down by like, a local from the other, the other country.
What was the strangest food that you've ate?
Dude, I am I am super adventurous. Can I cuss? Am I allowed to cuss?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm a freaking pussy when it comes to eating food, man. I have spaghetti everywhere I go. Like anywhere I go, I have spaghetti. It's so bad. Like if there's a building, I'll jump off it. But if there's, seafood that's caught right off the ocean and it's like brand new fresh, give me chicken nuggets. Like I'm so bad about trying new things. It's horrible.
That's your kryptonite. We found your kryptonite.
That's
So
it,
you
man.
don't you
And
don't
so wait, let me flip this because you guys do a lot of questions. Where is a place that there's two questions, so you have to answer both. So Ben first, where is a place that you one love traveling to, whether it's in the US or outside of the US? And two, what is a place that you would love to go one day? Like what's something you would love to see?
Well, I've been to a bunch of places just for work, and my wife and I travel.
Sweet.
South of Spain
Sweet.
is where we hope to retire. My wife's Turkish, and so
Like Sevilla or where at?
like Marbella area,
Marbella, yeah,
down like
sweet.
yeah, exactly, south like Malaga,
Yeah,
and
Malaga. Yeah.
and Portugal. We were looking at, because we eventually want to retire overseas. That's our
I'm
jam.
assuming Lagos, Portugal, like down south, Algarve.
Yeah, yep,
Yeah, sweet.
absolutely, yeah. And then, like you said, I've never been to the Philippines. I've never been like Southeast
man.
Asia, right?
You
I've been
got
to
to,
Japan,
man.
yeah.
You got
And
to.
I want to be there, check that stuff out. Vietnam is another one.
Oh,
I watched
yeah.
that docuseries that Ken Burns put out, and I was like, I gotta check this place out.
Very
So,
cool. Very
Those
cool.
are the two places. Frank,
All right, Frank.
Yeah, so for me, it's hard to go anywhere when you got a 13-year-old and a 9-year-old, right?
That's
So
true.
it's really hard right now. But I have a whole idea of what I would like to do when the kids are a little bit older. But one of the places I want to go is Sicily, where my ancestors are from. So
Heck yeah.
yeah, definitely. Now, have you had a chance to go there?
I've been so of all the countries I've been to, Italy is the one I've been to the most.
Okay.
But I've only flown through what is it? Cattonia, how you pronounce it? Cattonia, or however you pronounce it. I've only flown through Sicily. I've
Okay.
never gotten to see it. There's that one volcano that's erupting right now on Stromboli that I really want to see because it's like every 5 minutes you see actual magma, and I would love to see that, but I haven't gotten a chance to explore yet.
So how long did it take you to hit 125?
Dude, I haven't really I didn't start that long ago. So
Okay.
my dad, well, actually, I'd give more credit to my mom. I'm not sure how familiar you guys, Frank, you obviously are, but with my mom's story, and which I don't mind getting into. But my mom was a very adventurous person. My dad is like the opposite. I mean, you know my dad. Like my dad is, I always call him like, if there's two people in a relationship, one of them has to be the creative and one of them has to be the person that likes Microsoft Excel. That's just how it goes. You know what I mean? My dad's the Microsoft Excel guy. He's the guy that's organized, to a T, everything is in its box. He pays a parking ticket the day before he gets it. Like he's just on top of stuff, right? My mom, she was a little different, right? And I say was because unfortunately she passed away, but she was like a bright light and just out there all the time. Like she skydived, when I was like 6 years old, and I'd never even heard of skydiving. I thought it was like the coolest thing ever. So she got me really into just talking to random people, not being afraid to just go up and approach and, hey, where you from? And this and that, and just being outgoing and kind of going off the beaten path when it comes to like traveling a little bit. Like she would always bring me to school, and then on our way to school, she would just be like, hey, let's go play hooky. And we just drive to Niagara Falls, or we would just catch a flight and go to Disney World. Like we would just do stuff like that all the time. So once wrestling was over at Ohio State, I'm in my mid-20s. I just wanted to keep that, that thing going. I love who I am on a trip. So it's like, okay, everybody loves who they are on a trip. Why aren't you like that at home? You know what I mean? Like, you're so much more willing for shit to go wrong on a trip. Oh, delayed flight, traffic. Dude, I'm at the beach. Who cares, right? Or, you're in an elevator at a hotel. What's the first thing you ask somebody at a resort? Hey, where are you guys from? There's people in office buildings that you've done with for 30 years you have never talked to in the elevator before, right? But you're so much more open-minded on a trip. And I love that, that whole feeling, that whole vibe. So, I credit her a lot, but it's only been like, maybe 8 years that I've really been hitting the travel scene hard.
That's awesome. And I'd love to hear more about your mom's story, because I don't know if you know how deep the Clash of Dynasties, goes with those tragedies that the Walsh guys went through, but Sonny Marchetti and
Yep.
Brent Thompson and Yoshi Nakamura and those guys at that point, in high school, they lost their parents, and it was tough. How did you deal with that at that age? You were 16, right?
Yeah, I was 16. So, just, for context, my mom was unfortunately hit by a car. She passed away on March 21st, right? 3-2-1. So this is actually my base jumping. This is the hand that I pull the parachute out with. So, I say 3-2-1 when I jump, and then I also kind of like take my mom on a jump by saying 3-2-1. So it's kind of like a double meaning. But so she passed away on March 21st, 2009. I was 16. The last memory I had with her was actually the state tournament like 2 weeks before. So I forget if I was like traveling or what. I was doing something right after states. I didn't really see my mom. She unfortunately wasn't living at home at the time, but I didn't see my mom for like a week after the state tournament. So the last memory I had with her was winning my first state title. Now, when something like that happens at a young age, I wish that I could like act like I was super stoic and knew how to handle emotional intelligence and all that stuff back then. Obviously, I didn't. But I always compare wrestling. I wish I had an example of something I can use. I'll just use this little stress ball. So if this is like a cup of water, right? I always use this as like my analogy for getting over any type of adversity. This is your cup of water, and it's filled with dirt, right? And then water. If I let it sit for a really long time, the dirt obviously sinks to the bottom, right? That's where it goes. And if I take a little baby sip off the top, it tastes clean. I don't taste any dirt. It feels good. Taking a baby sip off the top is representative of easy choices. If I sleep in and could have worked out, oh, I didn't taste any dirt today. That wasn't nasty. It felt good. It was clean. If I could have done 5 reps, but I did 3, you know what? I tasted clean water today. That wasn't dirty. I didn't get down to the dirt, right? There was never anything uncomfortable happening in these decisions. Now, what do you know? If you take enough sips, what do you eventually get down to? The dirt. What do you know in real life eventually is going to happen? Well, bad days are going to happen. That's inevitable. You're going to get fired. You're going to have relationship problems. You're going to have injuries. You're going to have grade problems. Grandma's going to die. That's just part of life, right? Well, the cool thing that wrestling does is it shakes your water. So every day you simulate hardship. So if I take a sip of water and it's all dirty and murky, has been shaken around because I'm simulating that turbulence, it has a really honest feedback loop where it's like I take a sip, oh, that was nasty. You're not tough enough today. Sip, you're not strong enough today. Sip, you're not fast enough today. And the feedback loop is so honest. And just because I wrestled, it doesn't mean losing my mom is going to be easy, but it will be manageable because I simulated that hardship all the time, and that manageability, that my ability, it's a superpower. I mean, you guys know it's wrestling, and I'm sure lacrosse thinks they're a superpower. I'm sure basketball thinks they're a superpower, but for us, I really believe, the stuff that we do in this sport, it gives you a superpower. And I don't want to do the cliche like everything else in life is easy. No, there's hard stuff people go through. I'm sure serving in the military or being a firefighter, I'm sure these things are harder than wrestling. But when it comes to like how you handle that real life turbulence, I do think we have a really big advantage simulating it at such a young age for ourselves.
I love that answer. It's so true, right? Because you think about it, it's easy to just take a little clean water, right? As opposed
to that's what I want to do. You think I want to wake up early?
Right. So true. Hey, I wanted to always ask you, you could have went to any school you wanted, right? You are the top middle school wrestlers in the country coming up.
Why Walsh, baby?
Why'd you go to Walsh, man?
Because I just wanted to whoop on some St. Ed's dudes. That's why.
How'd that go?
No, the reason was.
Who was your opponent at St. Ed's when you were there?
I only wrestled I wrestled Gus Seiko. I wrestled him twice. I was supposed to wrestle Jamie Clark, but I was injured or he was injured. One of us was injured. And we missed the duel. I forget what happened. It was like my sophomore year. But after that, I don't think I wrestled, or if I did wrestle St. Ed's kid, it wasn't anybody that was like, a state qualifier even. They weren't super notable name. But yeah, Gus Seiko was like the big name I wrestled. He wrestled Virginia. I think if you didn't know American, he was like right there, top 15 type kid. Every year at UVA, he was tough. But the reason I went to Walsh, and sorry if I'm filibustering a little bit, I get excited about this stuff. But
Love it.
the reason I went to Walsh was Bill Barger. How could you not want to wrestle for one of the best coaches ever? I did the test at Ed's, and I shadowed Ed's twice. I shadowed Nick Solzer, and I maybe shadowed Colin. I forget if it was Colin or it might have been Jamie, one of the two. But I just fell in love with Walsh. I felt like it. Me and Bill got along really well, and he was willing to do kind of anything to see me succeed, and I respect the heck out of him.
Billy B is a special human being, and maybe the greatest salesperson ever.
Yes.
As well, right? I mean, think about what he did and how he could influence parents and kids, but I've never met anybody as authentic in my life. Have you ever met anybody as authentic as Billy B?
He's always himself. He definitely is super direct. There's a funny story. You might have been on the team. Were you ever on Dapper Dan team?
No.
So he has a story he always told us, and he was coaching the Dapper Dan team. I don't know what year. I'm assuming it was the 90s or maybe early 2000s. And he was the Team USA coach against Pennsylvania. And he gets in there and he's, talking to these guys, and Pennsylvania had like a number 1 ranked kid at every weight, right? So he's talking to them in the locker room, trying to give them a pep talk. And he just kind of like stops for a second and he goes, guys, and you know how he talks, guys. And he goes, F sportsmanship. Tonight we're punks. And they go out there, dude, and they just put a whooping on PA that time. And every single one of them was just flexing at the crowd but that was him. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't, instigating being a punk. He was just being direct. Like, if we want to beat these guys, we can't be the goody boys from Ohio right now. We're gonna have to be a little gangster. We're gonna have to get on them because they're pretty good. You know what I mean? He was just direct, and that's what I loved about him. He was always himself, and you always knew what you were getting.
I think that was that 97. I think that was that 97 team with Nupp and Heskett and Svita, and he won Coach of the Year, I think, that year.
That's right. Wait, I just saw your guys' thing. You just did a podcast with Svita, right?
Yeah. Well, it's
That was
coming.
awesome. Yeah.
He's,
That's cool. How's he doing?
He's great. It was funny. Finding him was like a needle in a haystack, right? You had to search the music scene.
Now? I know he was doing, what is he doing? Art, or what's he doing?
He's playing in a band.
A band.
In New York, and he's teaching at Edge Academy.
Wow.
And helping out there. Yeah.
Edge is at NYAC. That's New York Athletic Club.
No, it's part of, I think, Beat the Streets, New York.
Oh, Edge. That's where like Kendall Cross and them were. Yes. I didn't know he was there. Very cool. Very cool.
And it's Victor.digital, right? Is that right, Frank?
Yes.
Victor, he was a bad dude.
Yeah, man, I tell you what, his guitar skills and his singing is like, from where he was to where he is, like, you could tell he worked so hard at it.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of your guys' clips. So I saw the one with Svita, and then I saw the one with Logie Bear where he was talking about my shoulder getting like popped out. That was awesome.
Yes. Well, it's funny because I was doing some research, and that was his only match that went the distance. His senior year was the one with you, yeah. And
wow,
he talked about how he was just trying to rip your. And I found that match and watched it, and you were like Gumby in that shoulders, man. That was crazy.
Yeah, I was doing a little theatrics, like it hurt, but I do have Gumby shoulders, so sometimes I just to kind of like get a potentially dangerous or something, so it helps. It helps to have rubber shoulders.
What was that like too? I mean, you guys, you went on to Ohio State. You were teammates with him and his brother.
Yeah,
and you guys won a national title. What was that like jumping to a Big Ten schedule? Right?
Oh, it was awesome. So I verbal pretty young. It was right after my mom's right after my mom's passing. I think it was like that summer, maybe that oncoming season. I verbaled, and I only took one official visit, and it was to Ohio State. And I'm not sure what the rules are now, but you got 5 back then, and it was awesome. Our recruiting class was Hunter Stieber, Logan Stieber, Cam Tessari, Andrew Campitano, Kenny Courts, and Logan ended up being a freshman with us because he redshirted, and it was unbelievable. Like having that type of recruiting class. We were the number one recruiting class in the country. By the time I was a junior, we won the nationals, and it was all, you know, with Logan leading the charge. You know, Logan Stever, 4-time NCAA champ.
Why did you not, take your visits though?
Because I had already verbaled to Ohio State and I committed, right? And it's like, yeah, obviously, like you could go back on a verbal, but I had already committed. So I'm gonna, I was gonna stand by my commitment, which if kids are listening, you could at any time you can change your mind. Like I don't want people to think that yes, there's importance to like sticking to your word, but there's also importance to like, dude, stuff happens in life and I get it. You don't gotta, but that was me though. I wanted to stick to my word. And I don't know, I felt at home at Ohio State. The coaching staff, Lou Roselli, Tom Ryan, they were just great people,
And what would you have gone anywhere else if you look back on it?
I got a lot of messages. I was really close with Kerry McCoy, who was at Maryland at the time. I got a lot of messages from places like Iowa State. They hit me up a lot. I went to a wrestling camp, like a 12-day camp at the University of Iowa. That was interesting. Daniel Dennis was actually my like coach for that 12 days. But yeah, I didn't really like even look into any, like it didn't even cross my mind. It was almost like, what would you do if you didn't qualify for states this year? Like it didn't even like register. Like that's an option. Like once I verbaled, it wasn't even an option that other things were available, So that was kind of how I thought about it.
And so camps are a big part of your life, your career. And you just mentioned you went to that 12-day at Iowa, which back in those days were famous,
Yeah.
Just for what they put you through, like those Jay Robinson camps.
A legend, RIP.
Yeah. What was it? What was your first camp experience that really fueled that fire of like love for just being a camp counselor, being an instructor?
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's so funny you said that because the love word is like such an important word for me when it comes to wrestling camps. At the end of the day, the three of us, are going to teach very similar stuff. We're good at wrestling, right? Like it didn't even matter. Like, am I going to teach you double A as good as Jordan Burroughs? Obviously not. But at the end of the day, for the most part, we all know the same things. Hey, when you get your head in, head up, and try and get your feet off the shot, and we're going to teach some of the same stuff. So my thing about wrestling camps is not to teach the coolest stuff. It's help kids find ways to fall in love with wrestling, because that's where I fell in love with wrestling. When I was little, going to Jeff Jordan's camps. And I know St. Ed's and Walsh, have beef with Graham, but like, dude, like you fall in love sleeping on the mat or like eating junk food, staying up late at night with your homies and playing Mafia or whatever it is that you're doing at those camps. You fall in love with wrestling. And when you fall in love with something, you're willing to suffer for it more, right? Like when that water bottle is shaking, if I don't love what I'm doing, I'm freaking not taking a sip. But if I do love what I'm doing, I am going to take a sip of that. Like it's love is the best motivator. Like I always, again, I'm filibustering, but I get fired up about this stuff. I always look at wrestling like a fire. And we use things like fired up, burnt out all the time. We always use those phrases. Now, if you have lighter fluid and you throw it on the fire, it gets, going for 10 seconds. So lighter fluid is that external motivator. So that's, hey, my dad's watching. Got to go hard today. And that's, hey, my opponent down the street is doing an extra rep. Well, I better do 2 extra reps because my opponent down the street, that's lighter fluid. And what we know about lighter fluid is it can be taken away at any time. My dad might not show up to practice today. I still should try hard. My opponent down the street, he might quit wrestling. I still should do 2 extra reps because I can. So what we know about lighter fluid is it can never be your flame. Your flame has to be internal. It can't be an external motivator that you rely on. It's got to be an internal motivator. And that internal motivator, the thing that never can change, the thing that can never be taken away from me, is what I love. I freaking love wrestling. I love it so much. I'm willing to suffer for that. So I can evangelize that to kids if I'm able to tell more kids or show more kids or help more kids find ways to fall in love with this sport, whether that's through making movies or that's through wrestling camps or that's through doing podcasts, whatever the medium is, that's my goal. And that's, I guess your question was, when did I have that? And my answer is, I think my dad being a speaker and a teacher kind of always instilled that in me, like my entire life.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what role your dad played. Obviously,
I taught him everything he knows. That's the role he played.
Yeah, I taught him Every
that dude don't know shit. I'm the reason that he is doing speeches with Chick-fil-A. All right, it's me.
But I watch you, and you definitely have taken some of those best practices and you've brought it into your style, into your camps as
Thank
well,
you.
right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's the best of both worlds. It's my mom's, creativity, that whole like, zest for life type thing, and then it's my dad's his communication skills. I'd say he's, obviously a very good communicator and speaks in front of an audience well, and I like that. I like this sounds narcissistic, being the center of attention. I like talking about my story though to a group to motivate people. It's enjoyable for me,
Well, you have to be a great communicator to break through, like with the
Yeah,
kids. I mean, like
try to.
if you can't
Relatable.
level there, then you're not
Yeah.
getting through. Doesn't matter how
100%.
the technique is, right?
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Wait, so
If
wait,
you-
Ben, I'm sorry, wait, to ask you a question real quick, 'cause it popped in my head. You've worked on a couple films, yeah?
Yeah, we did
Sweet.
Team Foxcatcher, the documentary,
Sweet.
and Kurt Angle. We did Kurt Angle's film, and then obviously
Sweet.
Clash of Dynasties.
So have you all ever done any feature films, or is it always documentaries?
It's always documentaries, but I know when Foxcatcher came out, just a bunch of guys like Jansen and Yoshi, my dad, Jura, were all like coordinators and background, and basically helped tell that story and make the wrestling as real as possible.
Yeah, I just showed my girlfriend actually Foxcatcher, and we saw Jesse and Reese Humphrey and Zach Ray was in it, and there's all these cool wrestling. So Jesse was an extra on Unstoppable, and Corey was too. Both Jansons were, and Jesse was actually one of the Iowa coaches sitting in my corner during the movie, which is pretty cool. That was fun.
No, I think it's great. I mean, you mentioned that too, just about just spreading the word, right? And having great wrestling stories that, we had Vision Quest to fall back on for
That's all we had for 30 years.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So now there's these great movies that have real actors, but they're also bringing in real wrestlers for the technique, for the visuals, the stunts, so it feels real, and so it's getting better. I mean, even Vision Quest, those were the highest, percentage moves you could throw, right?
Right. Yeah. It was all hip tosses.
Yeah, it's all headlocks and fireman's carries, straight to your back. But
Dude,
now it's like,
you ever see Matthew Modine on Twitter? He still gets some Vision Quest love, bro.
oh yeah, he
gets
loved
the
it, man.
love.
Oh yeah, we ran into him at the Tribeca when we did Team Foxcatcher because he was
Did you?
doing Stranger Things. They were launching Stranger
That's
Things.
right.
And my buddy ran up to him and called him Loudon, and he signed. He was all
He
about
loves it. That's
Oh,
awesome.
it was
man.
great because he's a rep for our sport. Our sport is so niche that every wrestler comes up and is like, we love you. But
It's funny. Oh, sorry.
oh, no, go ahead.
It's funny, like what you say. Like I've said this for so long. Like I always say, we have Kardashian level drama in our sport, but nobody ever knows about it because we don't tell the story the right way. Like wrestling, unfortunately, right now is an if you know sport. I brought my girlfriend to the NCAAs in Cleveland. She didn't know me when I was a wrestler. She'd never been around wrestling her entire life. We've been dating for 4 or 5 years, so obviously she's had to learn stuff in passing. The past 4 years. But she's at the match, and I'm trying to put myself in her shoes as somebody who doesn't know anything about wrestling. What she's seeing now. It was the it's the semifinal. So blood round on the outside, semis in the middle. Not one of the mats had a weight class on it. Not one of the mats, including the TV, had the names on it, right? I was watching the rules, and it's like, she's like, okay, what's this? There's 2 clocks, right? There's a riding time. Okay, if that gets over a minute, it's a point. Okay, now it's overtime. Does it have to be a minute still? Well, no, it doesn't have to be a minute anymore. It just has to be a second. Well, wait, what the heck? And like, I'm trying to explain like all these different nuances to wrestling, and I love how niche we are, but at the same time, I feel like we do a bad job as a product selling the sport. Like, what sport do you think, and this is at the college level, youth, this makes sense, but at the college level, what sport do you think a good product is? You're going to sit on a cooler all day long in bleachers at an open tournament and go from 9 a.m. until 11 p.m. at night eating nothing but bagels, cream cheese, and I'm talking about fans doing this. You have to bring your own fold-up chair to enjoy it, and there's an announcer, and you have no idea when you're up. Like, that is not a great product right now. That's why I think the best thing that sells wrestling, and I'm kind of getting into like my just talking right now, but is dual meets. Dual meets are so digestible. I understand what's happening. Now, the rules I have to learn if I'm not a wrestling fan, but I understand that, okay, this team is against this team. Whoever wins, that team gets points. I get that. The basket in the hoop, that's points. Like, it makes sense to me, and the atmosphere is better. Whereas right now, I feel like to evangelize our sport to not be niche, it's going to take a lot of marketing that we're not used to, and wrestlers sometimes can be archaic where we don't want to change. Oh, it's traditional, right? I love the headgear. I love the singlet. I love this. We're very like, no, we have to stick to exactly what we've done our entire lives. Now, am I trying to be innovative and I might miss? Yeah, I might miss, but I'm going to freaking try. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's exactly what you're talking about with RAF too, right? And what they're trying to do. And
Exactly.
let's get into that. So how did you get the call? I mean, obviously I can figure out you, I mean, you got a great following, you're huge on social media, you got a great wrestling pedigree, but how did that transpire? And I know Palmer's running sort of the talent pool. So
Lance, he's high up. He's a made man
absolutely.
in that organization right now. He's the freaking man. And yeah, so it was funny. I've never felt like my accolades matched how good I was. I have beaten like 4 or 5 in college NCAA champs. I've beaten Hodge Trophy winners. I've beaten, world bronze medalists. But I never had the actual like, hard plaque result to be like, hey, look, see, here's proof that I am good. I've never had that. So when they did call me, I was stoked. I was like, wow, like you guys actually recognized that although I can't put NCAA champ next to my name, that I'm probably, just as good and could beat some of these guys that you're going to put me against. So it was Izzy and Chad. Chad's from Cleveland, actually. Chad Bronstein. He's from Cleveland. They called me up and they're like, hey, obviously, you got a big wrestling following. You work with a lot of kids. You do a lot of camps. You down to keep competing a little bit. And I hadn't competed since 2019 at this point. And I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be tough. So my first match, I came off the couch and I wrestled a Big Ten champ from Iowa, and he got me pretty good. But since then, been training pretty hard and just been loving it. But they're doing exactly what I'm saying. They're selling the sport. They're selling it to the MMA stuff. Doesn't make sense probably if you're a wrestler. When you're a non-wrestler or you're at the arena, dude, the MMA guys, they make sense. It makes perfect sense, and it goes well. It goes with the production. Like, I don't know another way to explain that, but if you haven't been to one yet, go to it and you're gonna see how much all the stuff makes sense with having the Colbys, which I get it. It's like, dude, we really want Colby in this right now, and I get it, but it makes sense when you're there.
When you look at your wrestling in RAF, it seems like you have been able to pull the trigger in a way and just be free out there and execute, right? And take shots.
I'm
And
playing
for
with
you-
house money.
Right. And
Yeah.
watching you in college, and I heard you on a podcast talking about like wrestling Tomasello and like wrestling, and going back to your apartment and feeling like,
Identity.
yes.
Yeah.
And what changed up here that has, because 7 years off the couch, but now it seems like you're able to go do the things you were not able to do prior. What's
Yeah.
changed?
So that's a great question. So, I think one, the disconnect happens fast where, I remember I'd be in high school and I'd be, the following preseason, I'd be like, dude, there's no way I was this sore last year. Like, even in just like 6 months, we have disconnect from how difficult something actually is. Once we're distant from it and there's no discomfort introduced, dude, I could do that. That's easy. You have that whole like Dunning-Kruger effect kind of happen, right? And I had that fast in when I was done competing, where as a coach, I could easily give advice like, dude, don't worry about who's on your side of the bracket, just go out and have fun. But it's like, dude, once you're back competing, no, I'm freaking nervous. I want to win. I didn't want that guy on my side of the bracket. I'm freaking nervous. Like that all those thoughts and emotions, because we're so distant from them, we don't have anymore, and we forget how hard they are. So what I would do is before my match, I would just be like, hey, all the stuff that you've preached for the past 7 years to all these kids, you do 80 clinics a year, you better freaking stick to it, because it's going to be harder than you remember, which is a good thing because you want to have that fire again. But at the same time, there's going to be things that you forgot about. And it's going to be things like, oh, I hope he doesn't make weight because I just want to win so bad. I hope he doesn't make, like, we have crazy thoughts as wrestlers, like the craziest thoughts because we want to win so bad. And if you say them out loud, they sound soft, right? So I was like, dude, I'm playing with house money right now. what's cool about wrestling? Winning is obviously cool, but what's cool if you surrender the outcome? Trying cool moves. That's cool. It's not cool to do math in a match and try to win 3-2. And I escaped and I wrote them out and I won 3-2. Like, yeah, okay, you advanced and that's great, but it's cool to try cool moves. And I always look at wrestling like a casino. So actually not a casino, I should say an investment. But let's say it's a casino first. If you have $100 and you go to a casino, you might win today. There's a chance. Hey, I play some blackjack, I play some craps, I might come up a couple $100. Great. But is that sustainable for a full year? Of course not. You're gonna be net negative at the end of the year. That's just how the casino game works. We all know that. Now, if you take that same $100 and you put it into an investment, are you gonna see more money today from that investment? No, of course not. It might go down, it might go up. It's crypto, it's stocks, it's whatever it is. It's not gonna be today you see more money. But a year from now, you're going to see more money. So when I take that same analogy and I apply it to my wrestling, I apply it to stalemating, to trying no moves, to trying to squeak out a win. That's going to the casino. If I stalemate and try 0 moves, yeah, I might win at the casino today. I might win the match today, but I don't get better as a man, as a wrestler a year from now. But if I take that same premise, I put it into, hey, try moves. Freaking empty the clip. Shoot, I might lose money today. I might get scored on, but I'm going to be better at wrestling. I'm going to be a better man a year from now. And that trickles into my identity. That's like, am I trying to be the best in the world right now? No, of course not. I'm done wrestling. But that is going to bleed over into like how I do my camps, how I am as a partner in my relationship, how I am, as a son to my dad. Like those things matter as a part of your identity, because how you do one thing, we all know, is how you do a lot of things. And I'd rather choose the right thing and have a bad result than choose the wrong thing and feel good because I got the outcome I wanted.
Well, I think that also plays into what RAF's trying to do is entertain, right?
It is.
And
It's entertaining.
it's creating characters, and that comes through repetition, that comes through, just getting them out there, getting them matches. But like you said, I'd rather see a much more entertaining match than a 3-2 match, right? I'm going to
100%.
remember a guy that tried the flying squirrel,
100%.
right? Versus someone that just stalled out or pushed a guy out of bounds and won, on criteria. And I think the fans are looking for that too.
Heck yeah.
So, and then speaking of entertainment, are you still looking for acting gigs? Are you
Yes.
pursuing, are you taking classes? Are you
That's a great question.
strengthening that muscle?
So actually I did 2 independent movies since then, since Unstoppable. Also, if you haven't seen Unstoppable, people watch it, please go watch Unstoppable. But since Unstoppable, I became SAG eligible, but I thought, okay, since I don't have a lot of credits right now, or I have, no credits other than Unstoppable, probably don't get into the union yet. Keep myself available just to not get big gigs, but to get reps, just to get better, right? So I did a small little independent movie. Brian Callen was in it, which was cool. He was, obviously a big name. He's been on a bunch of podcasts. He's a comedian, but I had a really small role. All I had to do was flip somebody off. That was my role. You know what I mean? I said some stuff to the lead actor. But then my other independent film, I was actually the second lead, which was sick. So I was in the full, it's about an hour and a half movie. I was in the full movie and I was able to have a lot of dialogue. And that really helped me understand, like, hey, if you're gonna do this, this is like, wrestling kind of messed me up a little bit, where I'm kind of gonna go back on what I said earlier, where how you do one thing is how you do all things. Wrestling was the thing where, like, dude, I was so good at such a young age that, like, it's just, dude, nothing's as serious as that. Like, dude, I wrestled, and trust me, this isn't that big a deal. Like, I apply that to like base jumping, which is not a good idea. But it's like, dude, wrestling was so serious that you have to like remind yourself, like, people treat like their endeavors the same as we did, even though it doesn't feel like you're, changing the world the same way we felt like we were. So, it's as nuanced as anything, it's as nuanced as wrestling is. And it's fun to keep pursuing that. I'm just in a weird spot. It's like, I only have 3, but I have enough credits where it's like, hey, I want to do this, but I don't have enough credits where someone's like, hey, I'm going to sign you and you're going to be talent under my agency, or talent, I'm going to be your manager. So it's like, okay, I have to kind of get everything on my own right now. I use like Actors Access or the Backstage app or things like that, which are really hit or miss, because my strength would be getting one-on-one time and talking with them. I'm going to make people like me. Okay, now I can get a job. But if it's just, through apps. That kind of sucks.
If you could play any character, what would it be?
Do I want to play? I like crime, anything crime related. So like, Ben Affleck, The Town, or Leonardo DiCaprio, The Departed, which are both Boston movies, but like anything crime related. Blow, Johnny Depp. Like I love things that are crime, and I want to be like a protagonist, antagonist. Like I want to be a bad guy that's the lead character. Like those are my favorite type of people. Like imagine like you guys, probably grew up watching in the 90s and even the 80s, like Casino, Goodfellas, like those kind of movies. Those are the best. Who doesn't love those kind of movies? You know what I mean? Like bring back the freaking gritty crime movies. That's what I want to see.
Would you rather be Joe Pesci or Ray Liotta?
Ooh, in Goodfellas specifically, doesn't Joe
Yeah.
Pesci die? He's whack. Yeah, dude. I think I'm gonna be Ray Liotta than that one. But I want to be Joe Pesci in Casino. I want to be the freaking shooter. He's the bad guy.
Well, like your
The-
backdrop now, I can see you as a young cop, in some show.
Cop be cool.
You
Yeah,
got your lock-
definitely.
Yeah, you look like you got your lockers in the background,
Yeah,
Uh,
that's all that's my skydiving and base jumping gear right there. So I got base jumping stuff, I got skydiving stuff, I got shark diving stuff, and I got mountaineering stuff. It's all in that stuff right there.
So talk about that too. How did you what was the first adventurous thing that you did that really clicked and you're like,
Yeah.
flip the switch, right?
So I've never drank alcohol in my life. I'm 33 now, turning 34 in a month. I've never tried alcohol. Big reason is my mom, and wrestling. I'd say both. My mom, when she died, unfortunately, it was at a bar setting when she got hit by the car. So I just always associated like alcohol with like, okay, bad decisions. Don't do that. Right. So I never drank. I have done one thing. You probably saw it on that Flow Wrestling podcast. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this, but I did ayahuasca one time with Jake Paul actually. But other than that, I've never tried drugs. I never smoked. I never drank. The only thing was that it was more therapeutic than anything. I actually had a full conversation with my mom during that, which is probably a whole other podcast we could talk about. It's crazy experience. But because I never drank and smoked and partied, my dad asked me on my 18th birthday, "What do you want to do? You're 18. Do you wanna go out, find a Native American casino? What do you want to do?" And I was like, "Dude, you know what? I don't really party. I'm not gonna go out. Like, I get it. Like, he wanted to like take me to like a strip club or something. I'm like, dude, I don't care about that. I'd rather go skydiving." So my first entry was my 18th birthday, and I went tandem. I did it. It was great. I did 2 more tandems. Somebody comes up to me and goes, "Dude, you're wasting your time. Get your license." So it's a 25 jump course to get your license. So I take the 25 jump course. I have my license. I'm jumping all over. And one day someone comes up to me and says, "Johnny, why don't you try base jumping off this bridge in West Virginia? There's this thing called Bridge Day. It's 1,000 feet. You'll jump off it. It's kind of like a skydive because it's so tall." I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." And a bridge is a very forgiving object. If you have an off heading, which means you open not perfectly straight, okay, open left, open right, well, you can circle out underneath the bridge. It's not the most dangerous thing. It's not like a building is behind you where, you could hit the building. So a bridge is like a super, easy entry into base jumping. And I fell in love with it. And, that led to me looking at the world in a unique place. I used to look at things like I see a beautiful scenery, but it's like, muddied up because there's an antenna there. Now I see the beautiful scenery and a jump. And it's like, let's go. We can jump the antenna and still see the whole scenery. So it's great.
I found out about Bridge Day when I was a kid because my best friend's dad used to take us whitewater rafting down at the New
Dude,
River Gorge.
The
Have
new
you
is
done that?
sick rapids. No, I've whitewatered a bunch before, but never at the new. The new is like class 4, so like the whole way.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's sick. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. The new and then we did a couple of other ones, the cheat. and there's no, there's one that runs north and south. I can't remember what it was called. Yagahini. Is that what you just
Yeah,
said?
Yagani. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The lower
That's a
Yagahini.
good one. Yeah, lower.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. And but no, it's funny that you've jumped in that river so many times, but you've never actually been down it. I saw a bunch
Hey
of
man, you
your
think I land in the river? I freaking land on the freaking target every time. No, I land in the river a lot.
But go back to how do you keep in shape not just for this? Is there practice that you do, but also for RAF? Like
Yeah,
at your
no,
age,
so
like what are you doing for that?
So obviously I'm super active in general. So like my baseline, is going to be like an above average. I would assume, I'm hiking, I'm climbing mountains. I'm an above average, like, stamina conditioning wise, but is that enough to compete with, like, I just wrestled an Olympic champion from Georgia, right? Is that enough to compete with Olympic champions? Obviously not. So For his past RAF, I was going up to, I've been to John Carroll a bunch because it's right in the area. I've gone down, see my boy Josh Moore down at Kent State. And then also, I still pop into like Seasons Wrestling Club at Brecksville. And, they just have like, even though it's high school kids, it's there's so many kids in the room where you got a target on your back and you got 10 kids that want to wrestle you in a row, you're gonna get tired eventually. Like I'm not trying to strengthen my wrestling skills right now. I'm not gonna go chase a world title, but I gotta be in conditioning shape. That's where I gotta be. I trust my skills. Dude, just get me tired. That's where I need to be, and that's what I've been doing, and it's been great.
And we are going to go back to your ayahuasca
Let's
experience.
go. All right, cool. I'm ready.
I did a documentary about it
Did
called
you?
"Stepping into the Fire." Yeah, and I did it twice.
And
down
what'd you
in
think? How'd you
Brazil.
feel?
It was an experience. I was talking with Frank about this earlier, and it's life to me. It was life changing, right? It
Great.
changed my life. It
Sweet.
changed my behavior.
Are you, if you don't mind me asking, are you religious at all?
Yeah. So, obviously we all went to all boys school, Catholic,
Of
so
course.
that's where it
Well,
started.
Walsh and I went wasn't all boys.
No, of course not. That's part of the story. But religious all the same, and super spiritual, and believe in a lot of different connections from just my mother preaching all that stuff.
100%.
But yeah, and my dad too. And it was outer body experiencing. It was seeing people from the past. But talk to me about your experience and how
Yeah.
did that change sort of your behavior?
So I've always had like, even being at Walsh, I've always had a kind of dissonance from like fundamental religion. Like I've always been like, it feels judgmental and I've struggled with it. And I've always felt like it was like, religion, especially lately, and I won't get too much into this, but it's became political. It's became like, only certain people, it's gate kept, only certain people are allowed it. And it like, I just had, it's been a sour taste, but I still believe in a higher power, I still believe in God. So when it came to ayahuasca, the experience that I had was very spiritual in that regard, where I like a full conversation with my mom, like me and you were talking. And it was so interesting. So what happened was I was sitting there and I took the shot. It was like just a regular shot glass, and I didn't feel anything. And then I walked over. Remember the scene in Wolf of Wall Street when Jonah Hill and Leo took, I think they were
Keeps
Quaaludes?
popping.
Yeah.
Yeah, keeps
They're
going
like,
and
"Dude, I
going.
don't
Yeah.
feel anything," and they're just like popping more. So I walked up to the it wasn't it wasn't, oh my gosh.
Not the shaman.
No, it was like a helper that was there, not the shaman. I'm trying to think
Okay.
of the name they call, whatever it was, the person helping. I walked up to her and I'm like, "Hey, if I haven't felt anything yet, is it bad to take like another half shot? Like, am I gonna be like that movie in Wolf of Wall Street?" And she's like, "No, no, no, it's not gonna hit you twice. If you haven't felt anything yet, you just don't. You have a low dose. Just take a little bit more." So I took a half shot. I lay back and I fell asleep. I just fell asleep. And I was annoyed because I'm like, dude, I've never felt altered. I've never been drunk before. I wanted to feel something for my only time in my life because I'm never gonna drink. I want to feel something. So fall asleep. And I don't know how your ceremony was, but our shaman had to sing what's called an ikros to you. And they kind of like get in your face and they sing to you, and you're kind of like supposed to present yourself. So, it's like pulling the bad energy, giving you good energy, all that kind of stuff. Very yoga esque type vibes, right? What I would imagine, super yoga classes are like. I've never been to yoga class, but what I can imagine those type of things are like. So I get up and I'm kind of annoyed. I'm like, I gotta sit up and listen to this guy sing and spit on me for the next 15 minutes. While he's singing, my vision starts getting blurry. And I'm like, well, something's happening. And I started throwing up. Like, not like, oh, I'm sick, like projectile vomiting, which they warned me was gonna happen. It's how you purge yourself of, again, bad energy. And they leave. I lay back and I start like shaking. And it wasn't like seizing, like I was tight. It was almost like you see a scary movie and the ghost like pulls your ankle at the side of the bed. Like it just felt like things were like pulling me. And I'm like, okay, something's happening. This is cool. Like my body is purging something, right? So I go, okay, let's think about something. Let's think about what it would be like my girlfriend and my wedding. Where would we get married at? And like let's let the ayahuasca just vividly fill in the picture. So it was almost like I had a little bit of control, but it would like be super detailed because of it. So I lay back and start thinking about me and my girlfriend. And okay, all of a sudden I'm having this huge vision, and we're in Italy, and we're in like Lake Garda, and we're in ankle deep water, and we're getting married, and all of a sudden the camera turns and my mom's there. And I'm like, whoa, didn't expect that, right? That was weird. And then everybody kind of like fades out. Like all the other people fade away. And it's my mom. She's holding a glass of wine. She used to call me Jay. She goes, hi, Jay. I've been waiting for you. And I'm like, whoa, this is weird. And it wasn't just like hallucinating seeing her. I could hear her. It was like audio hallucination. But again, I'm aware that I'm tripping. Like I'm aware, like I can if I had to go to the bathroom, I could turn it off, go to the bathroom and be normal. Like I could probably drive a car at this point. Like everything was totally fine. But I remember like the shaman saying, anything that happens, lean into it. If there's a big, dark, scary cave, go into the cave. Like it's almost like a haunted house. Like if I think it's gonna be stupid, it's gonna be stupid. But if I allow myself to be scared, I'll have a fun time. So ayahuasca felt like that to me. Like, okay, if something feels silly, if it feels like it's a hippie and it's taking your energy, just believe it for the time. It'll work. Just believe it. So my arms go up over my head, kind of like Frankenstein, and I feel that shaking again. Something pulls me. I'm like, dude, what was that? Like, why am I getting yanked right now? Like, obviously nobody's touching me, and my mom is still talking to me. I get yanked again. And I told myself, okay, the shaman said, lean into it. Just believe it. Something's pulling me. It's not the Iowa. It's something really like a deity. Something is pulling me. Lean into it. If it pulls me again, I'm gonna sit up. It pulls me again. I sit up. The shaman is back in front of me about 2 hours later. I had no idea, singing the Ikros. And I was like, dude, what the fuck just happened? Like, dude, that, like, of all the times I could have sat up, like, I didn't even know he was there. It was crazy. And ever since then, it's kind of felt like, in a spiritual way, that world is always out there. And you just kind of have to put like the goggles on to kind of like, the colorblind goggles in order to see it. Like everything is kind of like, it felt like Pandora, like an Avatar. The trees are related to the spirits, which are related to it was very, it's very cool, very spiritual thing. And I think did you go on Kairos, Frank, when you were in high school?
You know what? My senior year, I did not go.
You didn't
And it
go.
was the biggest regret I had. Yeah.
Bill made me go. So
Did
Bill
he?
made me go. And
Because I
the
didn't go and he was mad at me.
Yeah,
Like,
no, he was mad at me that I didn't want to go because it was kind of like, it was silly. Like, I'm not going to take this seriously. But it was almost like their phrase, like, live the fourth. Like, whatever you learn on those 4 days, put it into your real life. That's what I try to apply with ayahuasca. Like, don't just let it be a trip where you talk to your mom and, you get closure on being sad. Don't just make it that. Like, actually take this stuff and apply it to your real life. So I have, like, I've taken notes. I've, like, really tried to better myself from that experience a lot.
that's amazing.
What did they break down your visions afterwards and go through any talk about what you saw and how they might have translated that?
One of them. So after the second day, so the first day I did like a shot and a half, right? And I talked to my mom and it was very mild. And like, I do a good job of, I like to think I do a good job of processing, trauma. I'm not Billy Badass. I'll freaking, you show me a soldier coming home right now, I'll cry. Like I have no problem, being sad or feeling sad. Like I'm fine with that. But it was a very mild trip. Like it wasn't anything crazy. So day 2 comes, I did 3 days in a row. Day 2 comes, I'm like, oh dude, shot and a half, give me 2 shots. Bad idea, right? I was fucked up, dude. I didn't know where I was. I thought the moon was like a spaceship. Like, I don't know what I was like. It was crazy. But at one moment, there was all these animals around me. This sounds crazy. Me saying this out loud is crazy, by the way. But there was all these animals around me, and this freaking like praying mantis that was pink showed up. It was like an insect. It was like over my face. And I kept calling, it was very feminine energy. I kept calling her, and I kept calling her mother. And I kept saying like, mother, thank you for, and not my mom, but like, like more like Mother Nature. Like, mother, thank you for bringing me here. I just kept saying thank you out loud. I was like, thank you for bringing me here. Thank you for showing me the forest. Thank you for showing me this world. Like, I just kept saying that. So I asked them about it, and they told me that a lot of people do see insects or bug-like figures like on ayahuasca a lot. I don't know if it's supposed to be like God or some type of deity or, higher being. I don't know, but it was cool. And I feel like it was real to me. It wasn't a trip. It was like that happened. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to explain. You get it because you did it, but it's freaking crazy,
No, it's hard to explain to people who haven't done it. And your
Yeah.
experience is very similar to, what I went through. And I think that first time when you're trying so hard, right? It's not giving you what you want because you're not ready for it. And you're trying, like I was trying so hard, like the first time, like, I want to see something. I want to feel something, I'm ready. I'm ready. Right. And then I'm open-minded, but that's the second time.
That's closed-minded in a sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And the second time when I did it, it was unexpected. Like I thought it was over and all of a sudden the second wave hit and
That's what happened to me.
yeah. And it took me out of my body. Right.
Crazy.
When I came back, I felt like, probably something like you do when you jump off of something or, climb a mountain that everything's a little bit smaller, right? And you feel like you've been to another place. And like when you travel and you come back and everyone speaks English, you're like, oh, things are a little bit easier, right? I can understand everyone. So,
Right. Dude, that's such a good way to put it. Wow. I like that.
no,
That's cool.
that's amazing. I think, and you had, because I feel like if you've got something that you haven't gotten out, whether it's traumatic, PTSD, it works for,
Insecurities.
addicts. Yeah. Insecurities. Right.
Mm.
That and it's a medicine. Like, I don't know, people look at it like a drug or
It's not.
It's not that. It
medicine.
really is a medicinal experience.
Mm.
And like you said, there is this motherly element to it.
Right?
And
But did yours feel feminine at all? Like, did it feel like
mine was
it's
mine was a
crazy.
snake. Mine was this a big snake that was sort of just encompassing part, and it was
That's
it felt like a
crazy.
female, right? But yeah. So what do you do with all these adrenaline junkie things and experiencing all these? What do you do to calm down,
That's a good
relax?
question. So, kind of like ayahuasca, having a leap of faith or jumping into something, which is unknown, there's inherent risk, as anything we do. Um, I don't look at fear. The term fearless is kind of a corny word to me, because if you're not scared, one, you're probably not pushing yourself that hard, or two, you're naive, or you're lying. Like those are the things. Like if you're standing on top of a building and there's wind blowing and there's police down at the bottom and there's all these different variables, that's a scary moment. If you're in the water and there's a great white, that's a scary moment. To act fearless is just that. It's just an act. That's all it is. You're not actually fearless. So what I think, lean into it, kind of go back to the ayahuasca term, leaning into it is really important. Fear is your friend. Fear makes you check your parachute twice. Right? Do I want to operate out of fear all the time? No, of course not. I don't want to do an extra rep in the wrestling room because I'm scared of what my opponent's doing. I'm scared to lose. I don't want that to be my sole motivator. I want love to be my motivation. But if you can't avoid the fear, okay, let's at least lean into it a little bit. I think it's a really powerful thing. So to me, the badass person is not the person that is not scared of heights and jumps. The badass person is the person who is scared of heights, doesn't hesitate, and jumps anyways. That's badass to me, right? Like if you're not scared to get thrown out of second base, then then of course steal every base. But if you are scared and you freaking book it to second base anyways, you're a freaking gangster. And that to me helps me calm down. I look at jumping as okay, I'm about to go earn some confidence. Like nobody's ever confident before the jump. It's confident after. The confidence is the reward you get for trying. If I jump, and even if it's a cliff jump into water, I hit the water, dude, that was sick. Let's go again. Now I'm confident. If I shoot and I get my hands locked on a leg and I almost score, now I'm confident. You don't get to do the opposite order. It's not okay, I'm scared to try this move. I'll try it when I'm ready, when I'm confident. It doesn't work like that. You have to try it first. You F it up. You almost get it. Now you're a little confident. Confidence is earned. It's a reward you get for trying. So when I look at it like that, when I look at the fear as like, oh, I'm scared or, ooh, I'm scared. I'm about to go earn some confidence. I like to think about it like that. I'm trying to shorten these up because I know we got to get some clips out for social media, but dude, I just get fired up. I just start talking.
So would you say courage is the bridge to confidence?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Because courage is definitionally, you have to be scared in order to have courage. Like you can't be like, I'm not scared of spiders and then jump in a bucket of spiders. That's not courage. You're not scared. You have to be scared to be brave. Like you have, it's in the definition. So fear is, I don't want to say a good thing, right? Because it could cause people to hesitate. It can cause people to have inaction, but it is a good thing also. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It is a good thing because it's a catalyst. Is exactly what it is.
You should try improv because that's the basis of improv is follow the fear, right? You
Oh,
know?
that's a great phrase. Follow the freer.
Yeah, you never know
Wow.
what's coming, and you just got to be ready and go with it because that's where the most exciting stuff happens, right? Nothing planned is exciting. So,
Do you
uh,
have an improv area in Cleveland that you recommend?
I live in New York, so my
Oh, you're in New
wife is an
York.
actress. Yeah, so my wife is an actress, and she takes a ton of classes, and we both
Is she
started
in
taking.
theater or film?
She's in both. She does commercials, theater, film, and she's sort of in the same, trajectory as you. She's got a couple of credits under her belt, but she's trying to get into the guilds. She does have an agent, but she's doing the
Yes.
backstage. She's doing all the self submissions, and like you said, it's when you get into that professional world, it's a full time job, and there are people who
Yep.
have been working at this for
6
decades,
years
and they're
old.
exactly, and putting the same mentality and effort that we put into the sport. So when
100%.
you come in, you're just dabbling. It's like, no, man. If you want to be in the
Jump.
pros, yeah, exactly.
Jump.
And then talk about, I mean, you started No Tomorrow, which is basically that concept of no fear. Exactly. I love that mural. Talk about that mural. Who did that for you? How'd that come about?
So well, before I even say who did it, what it means to me is like, no tomorrow, people see my lifestyle and they're like, okay, go jump off a building, go, you might die tomorrow. And that's not what he means, right? For me, it's stop putting things off to tomorrow because, of things that might tie you down, like, what people think. All my friends will make fun of me. It's start a podcast, freaking do it. Open up the yoga studio, start your clothing brand. It doesn't have to be, book the trip and go base jump, but that for me is what makes me feel the most present, right? And I put that on Instagram and I was like, I would love someone to come make a mural about my brand. I actually own the phrase "No Tomorrow" I trademarked it, and just put some stuff that makes me feel present. So I got traveling, I got some dice on there because I do like throwing dice at the casino. I got some wrestling, got Cleveland sports, shark diving, and base jumping. That's my things. So that's what makes me feel the most present. And I want to remind myself, not that life is short, that hey, you might die tomorrow, but don't wait till tomorrow. The best ideas, what's that quote from Blow? Like, everybody has a plan. What is it? It's so great. It's about like life just kind of happening. Like life goes. Whether you plan for it or not, life's gonna continue. And everybody thinks one day, one day I'll go to the Philippines. One day I'm gonna go to Vietnam. One day I'm gonna, and we always wait for the perfect moment. And there isn't a perfect moment. Freaking do it now.
If you could do one thing, if you only had to do one thing, base jump, wrestling, travel, or acting, and that's all one of those things, which would you do?
Could I be a stuntman actor in a wrestling movie?
Yeah, I guess that's
That's
one.
all. That's all four. I get to travel there, and I get to know. If I had to pick one of the four, wrestling's my baby. I we all know wrestling is what kind of made us who we are. I love wrestling, and I'll always be a wrestler at the end of the day. Any bio on social media, anything I write down is always like, I'll have base jumper in there. I'll have something about traveling in there, but first it's wrestler, base jumper, travel. That's always how it goes. So wrestling is what I love the most. I think where my life is headed, I would like to be full-time actor. I wouldn't be base jumping and risking my life as much without getting paid for it, at least, in some stunts and stuff. But wrestling is the love of my life. But actually, let me throw this. What's your guys' no tomorrow? If you could do anything right now, money wasn't an issue, time wasn't an issue. 13-year-old kid, you're able to, pick them up and go to the Philippines if you wanted to. Like, what would your thing be right now that you'd want to do?
Frank?
There's a lot of things, that's a big
Me
list.
too.
And
Frank
like
just saw his whole life flash in front of him. He's like, wait,
Right.
a lot of
Ayahuasca, that's number one.
a lot of the things like because I believe what you believe, like you don't put off to tomorrow what you can do today,
Sure.
that mindset, like you have to take action or else the world goes by. My dad, I asked him, and make this short, but I said, do you have regrets in life? He's, complaining about, I'm not going to be around much longer and this and that, you get to a certain age. And he said, I wish I would have applied myself and done more. Right. So like,
wow.
for me, that's like, take action every single day, whether it's starting a new company, go buy the trademark and trademark this idea, do this, start another podcast, go into another business, which I'm doing, so it's like,
So is it, sorry to cut you off, is it business that really like kind of sets your soul on fire? Is that like where your passion really lies?
wrestling, like business is my wrestling now. So
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
like I look at business as I looked at wrestling, and that's, to me, business is a game, wrestling is a game, right? So we're playing a game every single day. So you got to enjoy what you do, right?
Heck yeah, man.
It's going to be great unless you enjoy it. So to me, it's going down that road and continuing to see how good I can get, right? Because I'm really new still. Like I'm 5 years in the game. You know what I
Heck
mean?
yeah.
So it's just,
Dude, you're young and you're Lightning McQueen. You're the rookie. Let's go.
that's right.
I would travel. My thing is
Yeah.
travel. I love
Sweet.
just meeting new, people,
I'm with you.
cultures, food, and just constantly being sort of on the go. My brother and I have this thing like just at the airport, that anticipation, you're packed, like that feeling of
Dude, it's the best.
something's
right?
about to happen. I'm ready. Let's go. Right.
I love the travel experience. Like the airport experience, I'm saying. Like, delay my flight, don't care. Let me eat Annie Ann's pretzels, don't care. Like, put me in the middle seat. Like, everything about it, I love it. I freaking love it.
Do you? You love that?
Love it, dude.
I don't mind. I was telling Frank, I just got called to Singapore to do this talk for like 48 hours, and I had to fly out, speak, and fly home the same day. And I was back like 3 days later because of the time change. But I was like, I'm not passing up a free flight to
Dude,
Singapore.
Marina Bay Sands is like a dream jump. I want to jump that building so freaking bad.
Oh, so what is next for you? What last question for me. What's next for Johnny? Where are you going? What are you doing?
Couple things. So I got Monday I go to Budapest, and then I'm trying to say it all culturally, Budapest, right? I go to Budapest on Monday. Me and my girlfriend, we're gonna drive around, go to Slovakia, Slovenia. I've never really been to that part of Europe. And then I come home after about a week. I go to the only legal base jumping bridge in America, which is in Idaho. It's called the Prime Bridge. It's beautiful. If you've never been to Idaho, I feel like it's all the best parts about Colorado and Wyoming, but with zero tourists. Like it's awesome. I actually don't mind tourists. Things are tourist traps because they're good, so I get it. But it is like no tourists. It's unbelievable. And then camp season starts, and I have a camp right now. I have a camp every day from June 1st to June 30th. Every day from July 1st to July 31st, except for July 23rd and July 31st right now. It's the only days I don't have a camp for the entire summer. So I'm gonna be working with a lot of kids, spreading the good sport. Most people say the good word. I say the good sport. That's what we do, baby. You know it.
That's awesome.
Have you been to all 50 states?
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, yes. There's a couple that I want to explore more. I've only done Anchorage in Alaska, and I've only been to Maine one time. But all the other ones I've been to probably like between 5 and 10 times each.
Nice. Yeah, Alaska's my last one on the list, and I haven't been.
Dude, you gotta go. You gotta go. Katmai National Park. You want to see some grizzly bears? Go to Katmai. Or I think technically it's because they're far from the coast. Or no, they're close to the coast. It's brown. So like, this is super, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species, right? This is very scientific, but grizzly, if it's, I think 30 miles or more from the coast, it's grizzly. But if it's less than 30 miles from the coast, it's brown bear. There's some type of weird, little anecdote that classifies it that. But if you want to see brown bear, go to Katmai National Park. You would freaking love it. It's so sick.
That's awesome. Anything else, Frank, before we say goodbye to Johnny?
Man, Johnny, keep doing what you're doing, brother. Love it, man. Keep spreading the good, not the good word, right?
The good wrestling, baby. The good
wrestling.
sport.
Yeah.
And I just want to appreciate, I think, so I just want to say, you guys, obviously, not a lot of people make it past episode 3 in a podcast, let alone, some people don't make it past episode 20. I think like 80% of people don't make it past episode 3. I think that's like a real statistic. But you guys are sharing not only just a really important, story for Northeast Ohio, you guys are spreading wrestling and you're telling stories and you're showing our sport. And I just want to say, I see your stuff on social media. I appreciate it. I love wrestling. I love what you guys are doing. And I'm really stoked you guys were able to have me on here.
Thank you, man. I mean,
Thanks for coming on. It was awesome.
Absolutely. And we have so many great characters that
So many
have been a part of the series, the stories, Northeast Ohio. and you're one of them, and you're doing what's great for the sport, and you're bringing in the youth crowd, you're entertaining, and like you said, if you love the sport, it'll keep growing, and you gotta love what you're doing, and
Yeah, absolutely.
you bring the energy, we love it, and keep doing what you're doing, man.
Thanks,
So
man.
proud-
I
so proud of you.
apologize about I get fired up. I just start rambling. So if I ever come on again, just dial me back. Just hey, Johnny, shut up for a second. I'm sorry.
No, I want to push you up, not down.
Let's go. Next
All right.
podcast we do together is going to be in Vietnam. How's that?
Yes, please.
go.
Yes, and I see you're always asking people like, oh, you want to go skydiving? I'll go.
I'll
I'm
come to
not-
New York. My brother lives on the Upper East Side. I visit him a lot. So there's a really good drop zone on Long Island that is probably only like an hour from him. We could do a little, Clash of the Skies, Clash of the
Oh.
Dynasties.
Please. I mean, I can't. I'm a tandem guy. I'm not solo.
Hey,
yet,
that's fine.
but
Yeah, I'll be your film guy.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Well, until then, man, keep up the great work. Keep safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
All the best. Take care, Frank. That was awesome, man. Johnny is one of the best, and just so diverse compared to what everyone else is doing. And thanks for suggesting that he come on. I think he's a character, right? And that's what this sport needs. The sport needs storytellers, it needs entertainers, and he's doing that. And he's doing it in a completely different way than just on the mat. So
Absolutely, man. Johnny's the man. And that's what I started off the podcast saying. And that's what I'll end it with. He's the man. I love what he's doing. I love what he's about and what he stands for. So another great episode.
absolutely. Well, thank you for all those listening. Please be sure to check us out at clashoftdynasties.com. Follow us on all our socials and share the podcast with a friend. And we'll see you next time. All the best.
The story needs to be told just for the fact that it was a great time for high school sports. It really was.
You got the bad boys here and you got the good guys here. And then they went at it for 10 years.
It was a strong narrative with a good arc to it. And I think people could see that it wasn't going to be replicated anytime soon.
Look back on it.
Like, you're doing a podcast on it right now.
Like, that's how big it was, and that's what I wanted to be a part of.
At the end of the day, it was trying to help kids become their best selves at a really high level. And so from that sense, it's a story that's very American.
I think that's a good way to explain it.